When you look around this neighborhood, you simply cannot ignore the footprints that the Korean Americans left over the past decades.
People are probably thinking I'm a celebrity. I should act like one, right? Hi. Hi.
My name is Kat Kim, attorney by day and Asian Jimmy Fallon hopeful by night. I am a second-generation Korean American, born and raised right here in Flushing, New York.
This is so fun. I'm going to my favorite Korean bakery, the yummiest kombopangs. Everything looks so good. Every day after school, my mom would actually leave some delicious Korean bakery breads right by the counter so I can eat them. And to appreciate something that, my mom appreciated when she was young, it's something that, our parents instill in us.
And there is so much more that our parents impressed upon us. I remember my good friend Linda Lee telling me about the spirit of the older first generation at our organization. What they have built, what moves them, and what is at their inner cores. I wanted to see and experience that spirit for myself.
할머니, 우리 오늘 커플샷 했으니까 기분이 어때요?
좋아요.
좋아요?
Sizzling pork, fresh greens, and warm hearts. We observe elders preparing meals to deliver to homebound seniors, and in the midst of them, 90-year-old Mrs. Kim.
73년에 시작을 해서 이 KCS가 신문에서 이제 KCS에서 오라고 밥 먹으러 오라고 그래서 그래서 왔더니 내가 젊으니까 복해서 일 좀 해달라고 그러더라고 봉사에.
Mrs. Kim, she's been working at KCS like 30 years. And actually, a lot of the volunteers are seniors themselves.
This is Linda, my good friend and executive director of KCS.
Like, I think when people actually go to the senior centers, they're very surprised. It's like their own little community. It's the way that they keep in touch with each other and keep a social life. So it's great.
Well, the experience was not as I expected. I imagined a calm and relaxed fireside chat, but no, they were on fire themselves. A full bona fide assembly line, frantically cooking up a storm, preparing the mounds of meal supply to pack, load, and deliver. They even got annoyed that we were slowing them down. These elders meant business. Such fervor that was so contagious.
It really reminds me of the spirit of the first generation. They just did what they had to do. They came to a totally different country where they don't know the language, set up all these small businesses, and now their kids, their children like us, were now thriving, right? So their generation really laid the foundation. They were the ones that were just really in survival mode.
Seeing our elders diligently and passionately at work to help fellow elders was truly moving. I really got to experience the spirit of the first generation that Linda has been driving home. When I pressed her for more details on the history of the organization, Linda suggested I talk to Mrs. Han, one of the founders of KCS.
Long time ago, 1969, when we started our church is the first Korean church in Queens. At that time, the immigration started. So many Koreans somehow flow in New York, and they knew somehow Reverend Han is the pastor in Queens. So they heard, if you go to Kennedy Airport, call Reverend Han and ask him to help them. So we go to the airport and bring them and found the apartment for them and then put their children in school, all kinds of odds and ends for their living. So we got some grants, and then we officially started this Korean Community Activity Center. Now you say Korean Community Services.
자, 우리 홈 딜리버리 하는 거죠?
네.
출발! 내가 왜 이렇게 사람들을 도와주고 싶은 그런 마음이 어떻게 생겼어요?
그동안에 이민 생활하고 이렇게 하다 보면은 남을 돌아볼 수 있는 기회가 없었잖아요, 그렇죠?
그렇죠. 네.
이제는 내 자신도 중요하지만 남에게도 조금 도움되는 일을 했으면 좋겠다.
내려펴야 돼요? 오케이.
Our parents really tried to assimilate us and say, okay, go into mainstream American society. But then there's always this sort of pull to go back to our roots and question where we came from. And that's very true for me too. I think once I started asking more questions, I was like, wait, what do you mean 1 in 4 seniors live in poverty? And what do you mean when you say 1 in 3 high school Asian youth don't graduate on time or at all? Like those things to me it just very boggled my mind. And I think at the end of the day, I just thought, you know what, if I'm not gonna be the voice for these people, then who is? So I think I'm able to do that through KCS. It's a way for me to advocate on behalf of the community. I feel like we're that middle ground. We're able to see what we see on the ground, take that information, and then go up to funders, government, whoever it is, and say, this is what we see on the ground, and this is what you guys need to do to fix what is happening here.
I got direct account from a board member, Danny Kim, as to why he is involved with KCS.
I do a lot of my Medicare, Medicaid, all food stamp, all that stuff for my parents.
Right.
And I know how involved it is, but at the same time, I know how cumbersome and overwhelming it is for them if they don't speak the language or can't read the English language. So I was grateful that there's an organization like this that does it for people.
Right.
I want to be able to help others. And KCS has the roots to help people. All I'm doing really is to take what I've learned, my experiences, my passion, so that I can apply it directly into the community through an organization like KCS.
안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 감사합니다.
지내다 보면 내가 얼마나 건방졌나를 알게 돼요. 예, 어렵고 외롭고 쓸쓸한 사람들, 그 사람이 하루에 한 번이지만 밥 가져가서 안녕하세요. 건강하시죠? 오늘 이뻐 보이네요. 하고 그러면서 대화를 하면은 순간적으로 그 사람들이 그 슬쩍 웃을 적에 그게 더 밥 갖다 주는 것보다 중요하다고 나는 생각해요.
좀 힘들지만 상당히 보람 있게 보내고 있다고 생각해요.
I think what I really appreciate about the first generation is the spirit of giving that they have and also the spirit of sacrificing. And I know that that has been instilled within the KCS history and leadership through Pastor Han and his wife, and also Kwang Kim, who's the current president. And it's not that they just say it, they do it, they live it. They still persevered. So I think that spirit, that work, that foundation is allowing us to now carry on the torch and build on top of that and actually build a stronger and more sustainable foundation for my son and other future generations of Korean Americans.
When my mom left that gombopang for me on the counter, it meant more than a snack for me to enjoy. She would say, 이거 먹고 있어? 집에 가서 맛있는 거 해줄게. 엄마가 미안하다. I felt her somewhere near. I felt her care. I felt her love. And that same love is evident at KCS. I saw the sacrifices the first generation made to provide a better future for the community. Our community will be taken care of. That's the legacy KCS is leaving behind. Signs change, seasons change, and the people in the neighborhood change. But the legacy of KCS remains, the spirit of giving.